Hello everyone, my name is Jenna, but you guys can call me Jen. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Hi, hello, welcome to Sick Jen. I apologize for the sound of my voice. I have caught a cold. I hope it isn't too annoying for you. It's probably more annoying for me to hear myself talk right now, but alas, I am congested. But I am coming in to talk about marketing for indie authors. And if you want to stick around for bookish stuff too, if you want to learn a little bit more about, the ins and outs of TikTok from me, someone who is sort of an expert. No, I'm not at all. I'm not at all an expert. I just want to yap about what I've learned. This is technically a part 2 to my what I've learned over the past 3 years as a self-published author, as an indie author, because that video originally was supposed to be this video. I just started yapping too much and my mic cut out. So hopefully don't you dare do that again to me. I already sound terrible enough. I'm going to be focusing specifically on TikTok because that is where I have focused my majority of my marketing skills as an indie author over the past 3 years. It is my place of choice, my social media of choice, if you will, other than Instagram, which I just cross-post everything onto. And then I also have a couple other things that I want to yap about like different kinds of marketing that you might not think is marketing. I'm going to kind of reiterate a couple things that I did mention in the previous video about this, but number one is if you are an indie author, if you are in the process of writing your very first book and you kind of want to start exploring this world of marketing and learning more about your, what you should be doing on the internet, listen, choose the path that you want to choose. Do what feels best to you, do what works best for you, and it's going to require a lot of trial and error because, as we all know, living on the internet is wacky. The algorithm will select what it wants to select. And sometimes you'll be like me and it'll take 3 years of this to figure out what is working for you. Now, I say that I've kind of figured out what works for me, in that the past few months I have found a stride on TikTok where I've kind of hit the right kind of video, the right hook, the right length of video that just makes views. And it's honestly really nice to finally be getting views higher than the 200 to 300 view jail that I was in for so many years on TikTok. Yes, some content I do still sticks in those amounts of views, but then I know now what works and what can gain hundreds of views, if not thousands of views, which is, I know, not a lot of views. But in my world, I have learned, my world and my social media ideas and marketing brain, I have learned that it is not about going viral. Yes, going viral would be very nice, but in my head, I want a video to make like 10,000 views, maybe, and I want people to be interested. I want them to be commenting and asking about my books. You can have a video go completely viral and not sell a single fucking book. And that is disheartening as fuck, because it's like, well, what else am I supposed to do? And you want consistency in your social media, and it can take time for that to work. Now, I have been very lucky, and I did mention this in my other video, but I have been very, very, very lucky as an indie author that I have not had a single month go by where I have not sold a single book. On IngramSpark, there are months that have been missed, and on Draft2Digital, there are months that have been missed. Those are my places where I have my books that go wide, if you will. IngramSpark is for my hard copies, my paperbacks, and then Draft2Digital is for my ebooks to get into all the different avenues other than Amazon. So I don't necessarily count those, or I do count them. But when I say that I have not had a month missed, I mean mainly on Amazon. There has not been a month since I started self-publishing in 2023, in May of 2023, where I have not sold a single book. And that is amazing to me. And it has now become a personal goal of mine to never let that happen. So I am like just buckling down on the marketing so that I am constantly still, 1 or 2 books a month kind of, being sold. So I have been very lucky in that sense, where I have consistently been selling books every single month. I don't know how I've done it, to be honest, other than being very consistent in my marketing. I yap about my books, and I think they're good enough in some senses that people then talk about my books in other ways. Like, I have book reviewers sometimes talk about my books randomly, or my book gets included on a list of like cozy fantasies that you'll love. And I'm just like, every time it happens, I lose my shit. Like Meg from Meg's Tea Room posted this video, and I saw my book in the corner and I screamed. I fully screamed. I know I physically sent that book to her. I emailed her about it in 2023, and I think she mentioned it in a video back then and then just hasn't in forever, and then it just shows up in a random video on Meg's Tea Room, who's the queen of cozy fantasy. I lost my shit when this happened. A lot of my lovely mutuals on TikTok have read my books and talked about them on their profiles, and like, they talked about their love of them. And then my beautiful friends who I've made through the internet have also been, absolute cheerleaders about my books. And it's so fucking cool. It really is, when you've built this community. And I yap about that a lot in my previous video about building yourself a community online, and it helps with the loneliness and being able to diatribe at people a lot. Loneliness, I say, because writing is quite a solitary world when you don't have a big community around you, especially self-publishing, because you're doing it all yourself. Like with TradPub, at least you have your agent, your editor, your publisher, and all that kind of stuff. It can still feel very, very lonely, obviously, but it's really nice having a team of people that are awesome, even if it's like an unofficial team. Before I went on that little mini diatribe, I was going to say my number one thing is, if you are an indie author starting out, and I mentioned this in my previous video, but start marketing now. Even if you don't have a book done, start marketing in the middle of your writing process. Start building that audience. Start, cultivating people who are interested in your work and who might, follow you and follow along and be really like, be little hype people for it, because if they really like your concept and they like you, that's where you find your really devoted reader, right? So that's where you want. That's what you want to start trying to do. And I know it's incredibly daunting, but there is a way to do it, I think, that brings the dauntingness down. I don't know. Like, I find a lot of this social media stuff, to me, is not as daunting as it is to the mass majority of people, because I have been doing this for many, many years, and I have completely like shut off that little voice in my head that is like, oh my god, it's so weird doing this, talking about me. Yes, do it anyway, because no one else is going to do it for you, right? Like, it's hard and it sucks. We all know that in this world. We all know that when we have to take on so many different things and market our books for ourselves and whatever, and it's a lot, and it can be a lot, but just do it anyway. It gets easier the more you do it, the more you put yourself out there. And yes, there are ways you can do a faceless situation wherein you don't ever show your face on socials, but it is a lot harder to do, because people on the internet want to connect with you and they want someone authentic. And that's really hard to find when you're doing something entirely faceless. It's not impossible. There are ways to do it. I myself am not doing it faceless, as is very obvious by the fact that I have a YouTube channel, a TikTok, and Instagram, and I don't stop yapping about anything. It's one of those things. Like, you want to start marketing now. So, all right, let's kind of do a little bit of a breakdown of what I've learned in the past 3 years about marketing. I think number one is you want to be authentic, and you want to genuinely be kind online, because the internet is already such a garbage fire of a place, and you want to engage with others. You want to be genuine about it. Obviously, you're not doing this for numbers, you're not doing this for money, because this is not really the career you should be in if you're looking for money. I'm gonna be entirely honest with you, but like, this is you building your brand. You want to find what will work for you in your marketing strategy by starting to build a niche and like finding what you're interested in. So you can share a lot about your books, about your writing process. You can share a lot about what else you like to do as a person, what else you do as a human. Like, if you are a particular kind of reader, and you could share your love of specific books that you've read. You can share your love of baking. You can share your love of knitting. You can share your love of hiking, whatever, right? Like, you're going to find your niche in whatever way you can, and you want to try and loop all that together and build your brand, which takes a little while, but it's good to start thinking of like what kind of person you want to kind of come off online as. Obviously, we're not our entire authentic selves online, but you want to be as authentic as possible. You don't have to share everything online, obviously. It's your life. You can be as private as you want to be, but it's finding and testing out content that you think might work. And it's trying also to find the snappy content that you yourself are drawn to on TikTok. So when you're casually scrolling, see if you come across, like, even if you're not casually scrolling and you want to actively do this, you can look into the search bar on TikTok and you can look up, for example, for me, cozy fantasy books, right? That's my genre that I have published at the moment. I would also potentially start looking up like epic fantasy books or dragon books or like what have you. Like if you want to try and nicheify it a little bit, look that up on the search bar and start scrolling through the videos. You can scroll through the top videos, of course. I would also scroll through just the video tab and see what interests you and take note of the videos that definitely, hook you in, draw you, say, hey, this is really interesting. What are they doing in this video? And you can write down whatever the hook is on the screen, whatever they're talking about. You can do that. Write that down and then make a master list, save the videos, whatever, master list, and start studying what they're doing. Change the hooks 5% to match your book a little better and try those out. Just kind of reiterate a lot of the content that you see that is working, and you'll notice that your shit starts to work too. I need to do a little bit more of this because I have mainly been following people who are giving me content ideas. Like, oh, what are their names? There's Miranda Book Marketing on TikTok, who I've she was the one who really unlocked the marketing strategy for me that I eventually found that started working. I found her, I think, in October of last year or just before, and I started really honing in on these different kind of marketing ideas and these different reels and TikToks and all this kind of stuff. And then eventually, I think it was in May or June where things started to click. And that's when I noticed the numbers start to rise. And I was like, look at that. I've done the work. It's taken me 3 years, but Miranda Book Marketing has really, really helped with that. And then there's also 4 Paws in a Book, which is Brie Book Talk Strategy, that I find some of her ideas kind of interesting. I don't necessarily love a lot of her videos, but there's also some interesting stuff there. And there is also an author that I have come across, and I'm going to have to dig for her name because I did not write it down. There's actually 2 of them. There's one that ended up giving me a bunch of insight, or not insight, she gave me a bunch of different content ideas, and I literally wrote them down in my journal the other day because having a bunch of different content ideas is so helpful. And I was looking specifically for book talk ideas because I want to mix in, especially on my Instagram, because I'm curating on my Instagram a little bit more of a curated feed look on my main grid, whilst I'm still just shoving every TikTok that I make on there, and I'll remove them from the main grid if they don't go with the aesthetic, you know what I mean? I just want to push content on there. I'm just cross-posting everything that I do on TikTok. But because I am, curating a little bit of a brand there and a cohesive look on my Instagram, because I've noticed a lot of folks on Instagram, especially authors, have a very cohesive vibe to their feed. That's what I kind of want to curate. If someone comes to that page and looks at it, they see oh, everything looks very nice together. You know what I mean? So that's what I've been trying to do. So I needed a little bit more content that I could make that was those Canva graphic type content instead of just videos. And so I started, writing down different things that I could do. And this one girl, I cannot remember her name, gave a whole bunch. She does content ideas for book talk and indie authors every Monday. And so I went back, because she's got about a year's worth of content in this playlist. I went back and I wrote down everything that I liked out of those content ideas. And so now I have a bunch of ideas that I could work off of when I don't know what to post. You know what I mean? And then there is the author that I've also don't remember her name. I've seen a couple of her videos, and she has been the one to give me the idea and to say, go search up videos of authors that are in your genre, see what's working for them, see what their top performing videos are, see what hooks in your attention when you're scrolling, something that keeps your attention for more than 3 seconds, that makes you actually want to watch the whole video and go, oh, what's working for this. And I need to do that a little bit more. I think I need to curate some specifically cozy stuff now that I've kind of hit my stride with a couple different things. That is really all my rambling to say. It's going to help you kind of build a base and to test a bunch of different content and see what you like to see, what you want to see, and what you want to make, of course. It's the same thing when I was starting my booktube channel. I wanted to do a lot of what everybody else was doing so that I could, find what I liked to do best. Testing out what you want to do and finding your base and starting to build that following, starting to build your brand on these social media places. That is what I have been doing for the past 3 years. I started before I published a second story. Every once in a while on TikTok, I get those memories of what you posted today a couple years ago. Side note, I love those because sometimes I get them from last year and it's a genuinely kind of good post, and I'm I'm just gonna post that again because it worked, which I do. I just go in and I remove all the dates and shit and just post it again, and it works. It's fine. It's just content at this point. But I like to see some of the really OG stuff that I was doing when I was marketing a second story, and then a little luck to see how much I've grown to now. And I really had no idea what I was doing back then. Now I'm okay, I actually know kind of what I want to do with my marketing. And I think also a big shift and what helped in TikTok for me in my TikTok account is that I ended up kind of adjusting the content that I was doing on TikTok because I think TikTok was confused as to what my content was. And a lot of it originally when I opened up my TikTok account back in 2020, 2021, one of those 2 years, was I wanted it to be an extension of my YouTube. I wanted to do like, both writer and bookish and whatever. I just wanted to have fun on TikTok, and it worked for what it was. But I think because I then adjusted and took it now mostly just to book marketing, and every once in a while I'll share a more bookish post kind of a thing to like make it more focused on me as an author, and then like you're getting to know me through these little tiny posts like that here and there that don't do as well, or some of them do, but don't do as well as my straight up marketing posts. I think that has kind of honed TikTok into knowing what my content is and who to share me to. So I think that's definitely helped. But that's not to say that, like, I know there's so many different people on TikTok that have said, like, you want to find your niche, you want to find, like, your videos, or you're going to do, like, 3 main types of videos and blah, blah, blah. There's so many different bits of advice out there that do work and don't work. So you want to be very wary of some of those people on TikTok, especially those accounts that are like, if you're not jumping on this trend right away, you're failing at banana. Don't trust those. Don't trust those. I've seen so many of them and they're never helpful. They don't do those trends themselves. They just get paid for that shit. It's just not helpful. So I think genuinely what you want to do is start as early as you can, and you want to start to try and hone your content into something that you also would enjoy watching, or like would catch your attention if you're on socials, and start kind of building that brand, start building an interest for your books, or for your book, singular, books plural, what have you. Find what you want to do, and then also start building people that you might like on TikTok, your mutuals, build that little community. It's so nice. But yes, me specifically, what has worked for me, if you're curious, I'll give you a lowdown throwdown. Let me hold up a phone case just for an example so you can kind of get a little bit of a general direction of what I like to do. What works best for me right now is about a 5 or 6 second video where I start with movement, because you always want to start with a visual hook and like a text hook as well. Visual is a big thing. If you were doing talking videos, having like, you'll see a lot of people do that, like putting their phone down as they're asking a question. They don't just go, "Hi, I'm so-and-so, I wrote this book." Like that can work. It might get some people, but a lot of people will just scroll. They don't give a fuck. They really don't care. So what you want to do with your books is you want to market them very specifically, almost as like you're a reader for them. First of all, visual hook, right? If you're doing talking videos, it's also finding that hook auditorily, right? Like you want, I don't know, there's some questions you can ask, like, what would you do if so-and-so came into your garden and shattered your greenhouse, right? Like it's little things like that. I myself prefer visual hooks on the screen. So I like to take my phone, and I usually like to start like down here where you don't see me, you just see my ceiling. And then I take my phone and I wrap it around, and I'm like, oh my God, I do a little motion, and I come like this, and then I go back down. I wait for it to select me a sound. Let TikTok pick the sound, because usually they pick sounds that they think is going to do well for this video, and it'll help with views. I don't know. But just let them pick the sound. It's fine. I go into my little editing software and I make sure I trim the beginning just enough so that it starts with the motion, not like a pause and then go, because I always wait for the camera to like actually kick in. I do the millennial pause, but I remove them from every video because the millennial pause fucking sucks, okay? I'm not waiting that 1 second for you to realize that the video is starting. Trim it out, So I trim out the beginning and then I trim out the end so that it is like a much more smooth type situation, smooth movement. Another one I like to do is just starting here and bringing it up, doing something, smiling. It's usually just smiling because I don't know what else to do. And then I bring it back down. There's a visual movement. You can put your phone down. You can bring it in from the side. Another one is like, if you don't want to do this with your face, one day you can try, you can like go really close into your paperback book and film you flipping the pages. Just make sure it lasts 6 seconds, and there you go. That's your background of your video. Amazing. Super easy. And then I will find the hook to put on the screen, and it's usually just in whatever classic font is on the app. A lot of what is happening right now is actually kind of a boom of like big block letters and pastel colors, especially butter yellow. That seems to be capturing a lot of attention, but easy peasy is just classic white font on TikTok. Don't change anything, right in the center of the video. And you just want to find your hook that way. So the one that works best for me, no matter what I've found, is me saying, just reminding you that there is a gay, sapphic, or queer, if I'm talking about specific books, my 3 specific ones from my Aramount book series. Fantasy, cozy fantasy, just reminding you that there is a sapphic cozy fantasy just reminding you that there is a gay cozy fantasy, just reminding you that there's a queer, right? That, and then I do like a random little hook. So if I'm doing a second story, for example, I just go, just reminding you that there's a gay cozy fantasy where the two main characters, the two MCs, retire from adventuring and open up a bookstore by the sea. And then in the caption, I say, pick up a second story by J.A. Collington today. Hashtags. There's like 5 hashtags. Pick ones that are like more specific to your book or a little bit more broad. I don't know. I just go with hashtag fantasy book talk, hashtag cozy book talk, hashtag cozy fantasy, hashtag indie cozy fantasy, hashtag cozy romantasy. Like just those kind of easy hashtags. I find that they don't really matter. What matters are the key phrases in your video, the keywords in your video that you want to use. Like think about the searchable terms. Like if someone was to search your book on this, to search up a book and your book would appear on TikTok, what keywords would they need to search for yours to pop up, right? Like for me, it's indie cozy fantasy, it's cozy romantasy, like cozy romantasy book, cozy fantasy book, right? Like those kind of keywords, you use them in your video, you use them again in your caption, and it'll, the SEO, the algorithm, it'll work. Keywords are your most important thing in your videos. So you just want to find those little hooks like that. And I think having the movement, having the text, it keeps people reading it for at least 2 to 3 seconds. And then that pushes your video out more, right? Because you want people to stay and watch the whole thing. So like the 5-6 seconds, it's very nice and short. You want people to read the whole thing, to watch the whole thing, so that it then gets pushed out again and again and again to more people. That is generally what I have learned. I think there have been a lot of different like attempts in my past about finding the content that works well, that moves numbers, and that also gets people saving the video or liking the video or sending it to their friends or something. I have yet to really find the niche or the correct recipe to get people commenting more. I know like a call to action usually does that. Like I posted a video the other day that was me just like, what is a book you've read recently that like healed something in you? Because I recently read a field guide for The Formerly Villainous, and that just made me feel so many things. So I wanted to put that up there and see what people were answering. And a couple people did comment, which I was really happy about. I love when people actually interact with my videos and leave comments and like, want to discuss things with me, because it does, again, it's more engagement, but it also creates like a nice space, and it's not just all the same continuous, all the same videos with just same amount of likes, same amount of views, no one's commenting, right? Like I want to create a little bit of interest. So that is kind of my goal next, is to like really kind of try and hack into the system and see what I can do marketing wise that's going to not only build my viewership and my readership, but to like, start connecting with people and build a little community a little more than I have. That's my goal with my marketing next anyways. But yeah, that is what I've been doing. And I use Canva for all of my images. I recently, because I wanted to do the little bit of a feed curation on Instagram, I went into Pinterest first of all, and I picked a bunch of pictures that were just like in a similar tone or like gave a similar vibe. So I just went with like cozy. If you go look at my feeds, especially on Instagram, you'll kind of see the similar vibe to those photos. And then I went in and I color matched them all so that they all had the same tones, all had the same colors, all that kind of stuff. I fucked around with filters and whatever. So they all like had the same vibe. And then I picked, because I don't have Canva Pro because I don't want to pay for that. It's too expensive. I picked 3 different colors from those photos to be my brand colors. And those are the ones that I usually use for my text, my typography, or if I'm adding in graphic, I could change the colors a little bit. Like if they're little doodles on the screens of my photos, I can change them to be the proper brand coloring, so that when someone opens up my Instagram, they're looking at it and they go, oh, like it's all cohesive. It all looks visually cohesive. It's all the same theme, if you will. I use Canva for fucking everything at this point. I love Canva so much. I use it specifically for photo carousels, and I love it. I love it so much, and I love getting random ideas sometimes and just like going in and doing that. But I do think that my Canva carousels and those graphics always take me the most time. Like, because if I'm just doing my quick videos that I do, that takes me about a minute to, put it together, what I'm gonna post. I don't know. There's so many different tricks out there that people are like, don't just post on TikTok and then immediately vanish. Like, you want to be on TikTok for like 10 minutes or 20 minutes, or you want to post your thing to your story so that you could do whatever you want. Like, I think it matters most in the actual content that you're putting up, and in like in the keywords and that kind of a thing. You want to hook someone visually and with text or auditorily if you're saying something. I think that's the most important thing for getting your content seen. But of course, the algorithm can be a bitch no matter what you try to do. So this is just what I found that works for me lately. I don't really have any advice or knowledge about like timing when you're posting things, like if you should schedule it at a specific time or what have you. There's so many people out there that swear by things like that. I don't. I just post whatever I want to post in a day. I make sure to post every day, sometimes twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day. I just try all the things. I try different kinds of content throughout the day just to see what works. And I just vibe. I'm very much like, I don't even care if there's a specific timing to do things. People are always like, oh, go look at your analytics and stuff like that. And I've looked at my analytics and they don't tell me nothing. Like, they don't tell me what time is best to post because then people will see at that time. They kind of tell me that my people are on, my followers are on mostly at this time of day or this time or this time or this time. And I'm like, that doesn't help me at all. So I just post when I want to post and it'll get seen if it wants to get seen, if the algorithm wants to see it. So that's kind of what I've learned about TikTok specifically. But yeah, that's what I do now. And that is what has been working for me in the past few months very, very well. Knock on all the wood that it stays that way, because I don't know what I will do if it doesn't, because this has honestly been the easiest marketing thing that I have done. And it has kind of taken the stress off of marketing for me, because it's not like me trying to think of something new to post all the time. Because hear me out when I say this, repeat the fuck out of your content. The people who are seeing your content, 95% of the people who see your content are new people who have never seen you before and are seeing you on the For You page, or they've seen you once or twice, and they need to be told a certain amount of times for them to even remember your book or to go and actually read it or to go look it up or whatever, right? So repeat your shit. Use the same hooks in multiple videos. Use the same style of video over and over and over again if it works. Because if it works, it's going to keep working. And that's what marketing is, really, at the end of the day. You are advertising yourself to other people and hoping that they want to read your book. So when it comes to like hooks and stuff like that, I have so many lists that I've taken from creators online. There's different kinds of hooks that you can do, of course. There's the reader identity. So like what kind of readers you're looking for. You can do hooks like, if you love books where this happens, you know, you'll love this book. Or for readers who want more of this, or if anyone who loved these books, you'll love my books, what have you, that kind of a thing, right? It's calling out the readers. You could be very, very, very specific of it, like looking for the kind of reader who will get to the end of a chapter and stare into space for 10 minutes and then come back for more emotional damage. Like little things like that, you can be very specific with it. You can also make content like you can sell the emotional experience or the emotional promise, right? You want to sell the experience of reading your book, not necessarily the summary of your book or what have you. The vibes, the aesthetic, the mood, I don't know, the tropes. Character spotlights you can do is kind of fun if you want to like one sentence introduce your characters in different carousels. I got all this content and all these content ideas from other people. There's a lot of different content that you can do. Go check out the creators that I mentioned in here, because they have a lot of ideas that you can definitely try. But again, the best thing that you can do is start going through social media, seeing what hooks you, and then you trying that yourself. Don't necessarily copy it and paste it, but change it for your book just a little bit, right? Make it personal to you and your book specifically. Yeah, you really just want to make people interested, make people want to stay. You want to hook them in. Anyways, I think that is my diatribe on TikTok. I really don't have anything else to say other than just kind of see what works for you, and whatever does work for you, run with it. It could take a long time to figure out, but it could also take very little time. You could immediately find it if you're using different advice from different creators and stuff like that and kind of, you know, curating what you really want to post. Hell yeah. Let's go. And again, I just cross post onto Instagram because that's easiest for me. Because I said, like, if the TikTok aesthetic, like if the look of it doesn't look right for the aesthetic of my feed that I've done, there's a little couple bars at the top of the video you can press and you can remove it from your main grid. It stays in the Reels tab on Instagram, which is nice, and it does get pushed out to people, but it doesn't. When someone opens up your page, they don't see it right away because it's, you know, you're curating an aesthetic on Instagram. Because I know Instagram is all about the aesthetic. They love aesthetic over there, the girlies over there. So that's really what I've done, is I've done my most heavy lifting in TikTok specifically, and then I just throw everything at Instagram. I just chuck it over there. I should probably do a little more genuine thought about Instagram, but I think that's as much as I kind of want to do, because I'm putting so much energy into, or I have put so much energy into TikTok and learning that, and, you know, trying to find my niche with my content in there. But anyways, Other than actual social media, I know nothing about Facebook, so I couldn't tell you. But I know other indie authors have found great success on Facebook, so I'm sure you can find more information about Facebook elsewhere. I just could not care less about Facebook, and I don't I don't want to do that. I have joined a couple different groups on Facebook that are like specifically cozy fantasy or whatever, but I don't really do anything in them. I don't have the energy to figure out Facebook, and I don't really want to because listen, it's full of boomers who believe in fake news. So Facebook was not for me. I devoted everything to TikTok. Other than your social media presence online, which I know can be scary, but you know what? You can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it because it can be as simple and as easy as you want it to be. You just have to figure that out. And you have to figure out how much effort you want to put into things because again, nobody else is going to do it for you because it's you. You are the marketing for your books. So, best marketing for indie authors is word of mouth and, writing an incredible book that people want to read and then people talk about wanting to read and loving that they read it and making other people read it and whatever. And word of mouth is really the biggest thing. But you yourself are the only person who can tell other people about your book. Start trying. Start doing some stuff. Start experimenting with different content. Other marketing that I've done. You want to have a website. For sure. You don't have to pay to have a website. I built mine through Wix. I found it pretty easy. WordPress is also another place you can go. There's all sorts of different places. Is Squarespace another one? Build your website. You can make it pretty easy. You can make it pretty cheap. Or you can, if you want to put money into it, again, however much money and energy you want to put into something is up to you entirely. There's not a specific thing that you have to do. Every indie author has taken a different path and does different things, and it works for them how it works for them. You know what I mean? So build your website how you want, but it's really lovely to have a website so that you can have a one hub information of people get information about you, about your books, and where they can buy them. Usually that's where I have mine. Some indie authors also sell their books through their website. I didn't want to do that because I live in Canada and shipping is fucking crazy, so I do not sell my books through my website. I just have a master list of where you can buy them, basically. It doesn't need to be super fancy. I had a lot of fun with building mine. I've done websites in the past. I've built blogs and stuff that I used to regularly upkeep when I was a kid or a teenager. But I think finding a space like Wix or WordPress is pretty easy. It's not crazy to learn. And there's a lot of, most definitely, I didn't look any of them up, but I'm sure there are people online who will help. YouTube University is free. And again, don't fucking use generative AI on any of this. It's inauthentic and awful and no one will like you. Don't do it. Another thing you can run through your website is newsletters. I have completely shit the bed with my newsletter. I do apologize to anyone who's signed up for my newsletter and gets the very sporadic few. I originally set it up so that it would be a monthly newsletter, and then I just totally fizzled out on it because it's not something that I've wanted to put the energy in. But I know a lot of authors who do really well with their newsletters. And I know recently, the author ML Wang, who wrote Blood Over Brighthaven and Sword of Kaigen, they recently had a newsletter go out, or they recently had something go out where if you signed up for their newsletter, they would send you a free e-arc of their next thing that they're working on. And so I did that. I signed up for their newsletter and I got that arc, and that's now living on my Kobo. So you can do fun things like that where you have news go out about your books, what have you. I know a lot of authors find a lot of benefit in a newsletter. So there's another thing you can do. I also have bookmarks. I make bookmarks for in-person marketing stuff because listen, sometimes you're talking to people in a line at a bookstore. Or you go to a Ren fair and people are like, oh my god, I fucking love this that you made. Do you have a card? And you go, no, I don't, but I am an author. Having bookmarks or something to be your business card, so great. So what I did with mine is I put my cover art on it on the front, zoomed it in so it would be very cute and whatever. And then on the back, I put the information about my cover artist at the top because obviously I'm using the art that they made. So I put the information of my cover artist at the top. I put the trilogy there, and then the Aramount book series, bing, bang, boom. And then I have my little QR code and information so that this actually takes people directly to my website. I think it takes them to the buy page on my website. So easy peasy. And then they can find through my website all my links and whatever, right? That is kind of where we are at with my physical marketing. It's really just bookmarks. And I love them so much and they're so fun. And listen, people love a pretty bookmark, okay? Especially readers. They love a pretty bookmark. So if you have a really pretty cover like I do, put that shit on a bookmark. It's great. That's kind of what I do in person if anyone ever asks about stuff, especially when I go to book events or I see an author or what have you. I have my bookmarks with me and I give them an and be like, look, check me out. Some of them do, which is great. What else can I talk about? I think the only other thing I had on my list was talking specifically about cold emailing people with ARCs. When I say cold emailing, it's like cold calling for a job. Like, it is literally, you are out here trying to just tell people about your book, which is great. You can easily do that. I did that with all 3 of my books, but I did my research first. And I never am someone in the comments on a video, on a post, or anything cold commenting my shit. Do not do that unless the poster is asking specifically for recommendations, and also like they open it up to indie authors to share their books too, or authors to share their books too. Then you can, obviously. Don't do it. Like, I've had people on videos of mine where I'm promoting my books. I'm not even asking for recommendations or giving recommendations. I'm talking about my books. They just comment a picture of their thumbnail of their book in the comments with no context, or like, you should read this book, and do that. And I'm like, don't fucking do that. That is the number one way to make me never want to read your book, and I will block you, delete the comment, and I will refuse. Like, I refuse to deal with that, because it's like, no, that's like walking into the middle of a conversation and like just smacking someone across the face and walking away. Like, it's out of place. Don't do it. Don't do it unless someone is asking specifically for a recommendation and opens it up to indie authors or authors in general. Like, just don't do that. But when it comes to cold emailing, when you're trying to get more people to read your book, be very kind about it. Do not expect anything out of it. Do not expect a return email or anything like that. Do your research for the people that you were sending your book to. Because, for example, I have Cozy Books. When I was trying to find readers for A Favorite Fae, specifically my last one, I wanted to send it out to people who read Cozy Books. Specifically, a lot of the ones on TikTok who make content about cozy books. And I know there's a lot of people out there who don't like cozies and have also made content about that. So I do my research. I am in their posts, I'm looking at their shit, I'm seeing what they're posting and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, if this person fits the vibe, if this person seems like they would read something, I then see if they have an email for that kind of stuff. And if they do, I go, great. I put it on my little list. And then I will, amass a list of like 30 different people or whatever. And I will email them individually because I want to make each email for them. I will do like a general, like, here's what my book is about, blah, blah, blah. And I will do a general format of like, hey, like, I'm not expecting anything from this. I saw your content and I think you might like my book. This is what it's about. Here you go, kind of a thing. Or if I know them, if they're a mutual, like if I was sending, which I did, I sent an arc of A Favorite Fae to Ren Jones, who is the author of Practical Potions and Premeditated Murder, I believe is what it's called, the long title. I sent her an arc of it and I was like, hey Ren, like, just, no pressure, but here's an arc if you ever wanted to read my book. She was so excited about it, and she emailed me back, which is so kind. But yeah, I never expect someone to email me back on those things. I send it out knowing that it's like a job application. Like, people are going to look at it maybe 2% of the time, not even. So I send out those emails. I usually also include a graphic of the cover at the bottom, just so that it's like, you can see what it looks like. And I also have the link to the arc right in the email. Nothing else. I'm just like, here, have it if you wish. It's spooky. It's scary to just cold email people, but like, you're not going to get an answer back the majority of the time. But I think it's also a good way to like hand out your book. And I know there are a lot of people out there who have emails attached to their account so that like publishers can find them and stuff like that. But some people get like genuinely very excited when they get arcs from indie authors in their inbox. So try it. Don't expect anything from it. Don't harass the people again after you've emailed them once because they didn't answer you or something. Don't do that. Just be very kind in your original email. There's no expectations. Like, you're not asking them for a review. You're not asking them to do anything. You're just being like, hey, this is my book. It comes out XYZ date. I think you'd like it because of your content, whatever, right? There's a very kind way you can do it. That is what I did with my books. I don't know if it genuinely got me any more readers than it would have, but I did it anyways because I wanted to get the word out there. So that's what I did. And I think overall, that is what I have been using for marketing. I think genuinely what I have learned over the past 3 years is that it's going to take a while, 90% of the time. It's going to take a while to build your fan base, but you want to do it as soon as you can. Start talking about your books online now. I don't care if it's not finished. I don't care if you have a finished draft. Start talking about it now. Start building your brand. Start building your following. Get people interested in what you're writing. And be kind online is really it. Don't use generative AI. That's really it, my friends. But I'm gonna stop talking so you don't have to listen to my sick voice any longer. But I hope you enjoyed. Let me know down below if you have any further questions about marketing as an indie author or anything else about indie authoring. And I'll catch you guys in another video very soon. Stay kind and keep on writing.